The morning sky turned dark as massive ships appeared above every major city on Earth. Commander Jake Morrison stood on the observation deck of Peterson Air Force Base in Colorado and watched the alien vessels descend through the clouds like falling mountains. The ships were made of some kind of crystal material that seemed to bend light around their edges. They were bigger than anything humans had ever built, and they moved without making any sound at all. Jake grabbed his radio and tried to contact headquarters, but all he heard was static. The alien ships had somehow blocked all communications across the planet. He watched through his binoculars as smaller ships began breaking away from the main vessels and heading toward the ground. Within hours, these smaller craft had landed near water sources and mining sites all around the world. Lisa Carter was working in her laboratory, 3 levels underground at the Centers for Disease Control, when the emergency alarm started blaring. She had been studying viral samples when her assistant Danny came running into the lab with news that alien ships had appeared worldwide. Lisa quickly made her way to the emergency command center, where dozens of screens showed the invasion happening. In real time, the aliens themselves were tall and thin with skin that looked almost see-through. They wore no protective suits and seemed to breathe Earth's atmosphere just fine. They moved with purpose and showed no interest in talking to humans. Instead, they immediately began setting up massive machines that started draining water from lakes and rivers. Other machines began cutting into mountains and extracting minerals at an incredible rate. Staff Sergeant Alex Rodriguez was leading a patrol near the Mexican border when the ships arrived. He and his squad took cover behind some rocks and watched as one of the crystal ships landed about a mile away. Within minutes, the aliens had built a mining operation that was tearing apart the landscape. Alex tried to radio for orders, but got no response from anyone. The aliens worked day and night without stopping. They seemed to need very little rest, and their machines operated much faster than anything humans could build. Cities around the world fell into chaos as people tried to flee or fight back. Most human weapons had no effect on the alien technology. Bullets bounced off their ships, and even missiles seemed to be deflected by some kind of invisible shield. Jake coordinated with other military bases using short-range radios and discovered that the invasion was happening everywhere at once. Aliens had appeared over every continent and were systematically harvesting Earth's resources. They took water from the oceans and rivers. They strip-mined mountains for metals and rare earth elements. They even began extracting gases from the atmosphere using enormous machines that floated in the sky. Lisa noticed something strange about the alien behavior patterns. While studying satellite footage and reports from around the world, she saw that the aliens avoided certain areas completely. They stayed away from places like Stonehenge in England and the pyramids in Egypt, even when these ancient sites were near valuable resources. The aliens would mine around them, but never touch the sites themselves. This pattern held true everywhere. The aliens avoided Easter Island in the Pacific Ocean, even though it was surrounded by mineral-rich waters. They stayed away from Native American burial grounds in North America and Aboriginal sacred sites in Australia. It was as if these old places made the aliens nervous or afraid. Alex discovered this too when his resistance group tried to attack an alien mining operation near some ancient ruins in New Mexico. The aliens fought back fiercely when attacked in open areas, but became hesitant and uncertain when the fighting moved closer to the old stone structures. Alex began to wonder if these ancient places might somehow be connected to a way to fight back against the invaders. Meanwhile, Jake worked with surviving military commanders to organize a global resistance. Human forces were vastly outgunned, but they noticed the aliens' strange behavior around historical sites. Messages were sent through underground networks to resistance groups worldwide, telling them to use ancient monuments and ruins as safe zones whenever possible. Lisa Carter began collecting data about the sites the aliens avoided. She created a map showing all the places around the world that the invaders stayed away from. The pattern was too precise to be coincidental. These weren't random locations, but seemed to form some kind of network spanning the entire planet. The first week of the invasion was devastating for humanity. Millions of people fled their homes as the aliens stripped away natural resources with ruthless efficiency. But something else was happening too. People near ancient sites reported strange vibrations in the ground and unusual lights coming from old stone structures at night. Lisa realized that the alien invasion might have triggered something that had been waiting for thousands of years. She began to suspect that Earth's ancient civilizations had left behind more than just monuments and ruins. They might have left behind something that could fight back against threats from space. The question was whether humanity could figure out how to activate whatever was sleeping beneath the ancient stones before the aliens finished draining the planet of everything needed to sustain life. 3 weeks into the invasion, the strange events began happening everywhere at once. Lisa Carter was monitoring seismic equipment in her underground facility when the readings started showing impossible patterns. Every ancient monument on Earth was generating small earthquakes that followed mathematical sequences rather than random geological activity. The vibrations were too precise and too coordinated to be natural. Captain Maya Johnson was commanding a naval destroyer in the Pacific Ocean when her sonar operator reported massive movement beneath the ocean floor. The readings showed something. Enormous stirring in the deep trenches near underwater ruins that most people had never heard of. Maya had served in the Navy for 15 years and had never seen sonar signatures like these. Whatever was moving down, it was bigger than any whale or submarine, and it seemed to be responding to the alien presence above. In Tibet, archaeologist Dr. Ben Taylor was hiding in a monastery with local monks when the ancient stone carvings began to glow. At first, it was just a faint light that appeared at sunset, but within days, the glow became visible even in daylight. The monks told Ben that their oldest prophecies spoke of guardians who would awaken when the earth faced its greatest danger. They had always thought these were just stories, but now they watched as thousand-year-old stone faces began to pulse. With inner light, similar reports flooded in from resistance groups around the world. Aboriginal sacred sites in Australia were humming with low-frequency sounds that made the alien invaders visibly uncomfortable. Native American burial grounds across North America were generating electromagnetic fields strong enough to interfere with alien equipment. Celtic stone circles in Ireland and Scotland were resonating with frequencies that seemed to make the crystal ships vibrate and shake. Alex Rodriguez led his resistance fighters to an ancient Pueblo site in Arizona, where they discovered that their radios worked better and their weapons seemed more effective against alien patrols. The closer they got to the old ruins, the more the aliens seemed to avoid direct confrontation. Alex began setting up camps near as many ancient sites as possible and found that other resistance groups were discovering the same thing. Dr. Carter compiled reports from scientists and military personnel worldwide and realized that something unprecedented was happening. The ancient sites weren't just glowing or vibrating randomly. They were communicating with each other across vast distances using energy patterns that human science couldn't fully explain. Satellite imagery showed lights moving between monuments along straight lines that connected sites thousands of miles apart. Maya's sonar readings became more detailed as her crew learned to interpret the underwater activity. The ocean floor was revealing structures that predated any known human civilization. Geometric patterns stretched across entire continental shelves, and these underwater formations were responding to activity at surface monuments. It was as if the entire planet had a hidden nervous system that was finally waking up after sleeping for thousands of years. Ben worked with the Tibetan monks to translate ancient texts that described the awakening. The prophecies were written in languages so old that most scholars considered them myths rather than historical records. But as Ben studied the symbols carved into glowing stones, he realized these weren't just stories. They were instruction manuals left behind by whoever had built the global network of monuments. The aliens noticed the changes too, and their behavior became increasingly erratic. Mining operations that had been running smoothly for weeks began experiencing equipment failures near ancient sites. Alien patrols started avoiding larger and larger areas around monuments and ruins. Some resistance fighters reported seeing alien ships actually retreat when ancient sites began glowing brighter. Lisa discovered that the electromagnetic signatures from different monuments were synchronizing with each other. Stonehenge in England was pulsing in rhythm with the Great Pyramid in Egypt, which was matching frequencies with Machu Picchu in Peru. The entire network was coming online like some massive computer system that spanned the globe, that the underwater activity that Maya was monitoring intensified as structures began rising from ocean trenches. Her sonar showed geometric shapes climbing up from depths that should have crushed any known material. These weren't natural formations, but engineered constructs that had been waiting on the ocean floor for millennia. Alex noticed that the aliens had stopped expanding their mining operations and were instead consolidating their forces around their largest installations. Intelligence reports suggested that the alien commanders were concerned about something, but human interceptors couldn't decode their communications. Whatever was happening with Earth's ancient sites was clearly making the invaders nervous. Dr. Carter made a breakthrough when she realized that the energy patterns from the monuments matched stellar configurations from thousands of years ago. The network wasn't just planetary, but was somehow connected to astronomical events and star positions. Whoever had built these sites had been thinking on a cosmic scale that went far beyond anything human civilization had ever attempted. Ben found references in the ancient texts to beings called guardians, who were neither human nor alien, but something else entirely. These entities had supposedly been placed on Earth to protect it from threats that came from other worlds. The text suggested that the guardians would remain dormant until the planet faced invasion from space. Maya's crew detected sounds coming from the underwater structures that were unlike anything in their database. The frequencies were too low for human ears to hear naturally, but when played through speakers, it created patterns that seemed almost like language. Whatever was rising from the ocean depths was trying to communicate. The resistance groups began coordinating their activities around the ancient sites and found that their effectiveness against the aliens improved dramatically. Not only were their weapons more powerful near the monuments, but their tactical communications worked better, and they could predict alien movements with greater accuracy. As the fourth week of invasion began, the glow from ancient sites became visible from space, and the underground vibrations were strong enough to be felt in cities hundreds of miles away. The aliens had stopped all expansion activities and appeared to be preparing for something. Dr. Carter realized that whatever was awakening beneath Earth's ancient places was almost ready to emerge, and when it did, the invasion would enter a completely new phase. Lisa Carter finally understood what she was looking at when she connected all the data points on her global map. The ancient sites weren't separate monuments built by different civilizations across thousands of years. They were all part of one massive construction project that spanned the entire planet. Every pyramid and stone circle and burial mound was positioned exactly where it needed to be to create a worldwide defense system that had been waiting for this moment. Colonel Ryan Mitchell coordinated with military commanders on every continent, as reports confirmed that the alien invaders were becoming increasingly desperate in their operations. The crystal ships that had operated with perfect precision for weeks were now making mistakes and showing signs of panic. Mining equipment was being abandoned near ancient sites, and alien patrols were retreating to safer distances from any location that showed signs of the awakening. Marine biologist Dr. Kate Sullivan worked alongside Captain Maya Johnson to map the main underwater structures that were rising from ocean trenches around the world. What they discovered defied everything science knew about human history. The ocean floor contained artificial constructs that were clearly built by an advanced civilization, but they were far older than any known human culture. Carbon dating was impossible because the materials didn't match anything in Earth's geological record. The structures weren't random either. Kate realized that the underwater formations created perfect geometric patterns when viewed from above. They formed triangles and circles and complex mathematical shapes that connected with the surface. Monuments through invisible lines of energy. The entire planet had been turned into a single massive machine, and that machine was finally powering up after sleeping for thousands of years. Jake Morrison established communication links between resistance groups worldwide and discovered that the ancient network was providing tactical advantages that human technology couldn't explain. Fighters operating near monuments could coordinate attacks across continents with perfect timing. Their weapons worked better, and their equipment lasted longer when powered near the glowing sites. Ben Taylor worked with scientists and monks in Tibet to decode more of the ancient texts and made a discovery that changed everything. The monuments hadn't been built by early humans at all. They had been constructed by visitors from other worlds who had come to Earth long before recorded history began. These ancient aliens had been different from the current invaders, though. They had come as protectors rather than conquerors. The texts described how the ancient visitors had recognized that Earth was special among all the planets in the galaxy. It wasn't just another world with resources to be harvested. Earth was a crucial link in a chain of life-bearing planets that supported the balance of the entire galaxy. If Earth was destroyed or stripped of its life-supporting elements, the consequences would spread across multiple star systems. Lisa connected this information with her analysis of the energy patterns and realized that the monument network was designed to protect Earth from exactly the kind of invasion that was happening now. The ancient builders had foreseen that other species would eventually try to harvest Earth's resources and had left behind automated defenses that would activate when needed. Maya's underwater monitoring revealed that the rising structures were not just coming up from the ocean floor, but were actually emerging from portals that connected to other dimensions or distant locations. The geometric patterns Kate had mapped were creating doorways through space itself. Whatever technology the ancient builders had used was so advanced that it seemed like magic to human observers. Alex discovered that resistance fighters could now communicate with the monument network directly through mental contact when they got close enough to active sites. The network wasn't just a defense system, but was also a form of artificial intelligence that could coordinate complex operations across the entire planet. It was learning about the current invasion and adapting its responses in real time. The aliens tried to counter the awakening network by launching direct attacks on the most active monument sites. Crystal ships bombarded Stonehenge and the Great Pyramid with energy weapons that should have reduced the ancient stones to rubble. Instead, the monuments absorbed the energy and redirected it to other sites in the network, making them glow even brighter. Dr. Carter realized that the network was using the alien attacks to power itself up faster. Every weapon fired at an ancient site provided more energy for the awakening process. The invaders were actually helping to activate the very system that had been designed to destroy them. Ben found references in the ancient texts to entities called guardians who were the active components of the defense network. These beings had been placed in dormant states within the monuments and would emerge when the network reached full activation. The texts described the guardians as having incredible power over matter and energy and the ability to manipulate physical laws in ways that would seem impossible. Kate's analysis of the underwater Structures showed that they were creating massive changes in ocean currents and tidal patterns. The network wasn't just affecting land-based locations, but was taking control of Earth's entire hydrological system. Water levels were shifting to provide more power to the monument sites, and ocean temperatures were changing in ways that made alien underwater operations impossible. Colonel Mitchell coordinated global military forces to support whatever was coming next as monitoring stations detected massive energy buildups at every major ancient site. The network was approaching some kind of critical threshold, and when it reached that point, something extraordinary was going to happen. Maya reported that her sonar was detecting enormous shapes moving beneath the ocean surface toward coastlines around the world. These weren't vehicles or vessels, but appeared to be living entities of incredible size. Whatever the Guardians were, they were finally ready to emerge from their long sleep. The alien invasion forces began consolidating all their ships and equipment around their primary landing sites and stopped all resource extraction activities. Their commanders appeared to be preparing for a battle rather than continuing their harvesting operations. Intelligence reports suggested that the aliens had encountered Guardian networks before on other worlds and knew what was coming next. Lisa watched her monitors as energy readings from the Monument Network reached levels that should have been impossible for structures built from simple stone and metal. The ancient builders had created something that operated beyond human understanding of physics, and that something was about to show the alien invaders that Earth was far more dangerous than they had ever imagined. The first Guardian emerged at Machu Picchu just as Sergeant Alex Rodriguez and his resistance team were taking shelter in the ancient ruins from an alien patrol ship. Alex had led his fighters to the Incan site because their weapons worked better there, and the aliens seemed reluctant to attack near the old stones. What happened next changed everything humans thought they knew about their world. The ground began to shake with a deep rumbling sound that seemed to come from the center of the Earth itself. The ancient stone blocks that had stood for centuries started to glow with the same inner light that had been building for weeks, but now the glow was so bright it hurt to look at directly. Alex ordered his team to take cover behind the stone walls as the rumbling grew louder and the very air began to vibrate with power. Then the stones began to move, not falling apart or crumbling, but flowing like liquid while somehow remaining solid. The massive blocks flowed together and upward, forming the shape of an enormous humanoid figure that rose from the mountainside itself. The Guardian stood nearly 50 feet tall, and its body seemed to be made of living stone that shifted between solid rock and pure energy. Alex and his team stared in amazement as the Guardian turned its attention to the alien patrol ship that had been hunting them. The crystal vessel hovered about 100 feet above the ruins, firing energy beams that should have destroyed everything below. But the Guardian simply raised one massive arm, and the alien weapons had no effect at all. The energy beams struck the Guardian's stone skin and were absorbed completely. The Guardian spoke, but not with words that human ears could hear. Instead, its voice appeared directly in the minds of everyone present, including Alex and his fighters. The mental communication was clear and powerful and carried information that went far beyond simple language. The Guardian identified itself as one of many protectors left behind by an ancient civilization to defend Earth when it faced threats from other worlds. The entity explained that humans were not the first intelligent species to evolve on Earth and would not be the last. The planet had been visited by beings from other star systems many times throughout its history. Some visitors came as conquerors seeking to harvest Earth's resources, while others came as protectors who understood the planet's importance to galactic stability. The Guardian told them that the Monument Network had been built by ancient visitors who recognized that Earth was a crucial node in a web of life-bearing worlds that spanned the galaxy. If Earth was destroyed or stripped of its ability to support life, The consequences would ripple across multiple star systems, causing ecological collapse on dozens of other planets. When the alien patrol ship tried to retreat, the Guardian demonstrated the true extent of its power. The massive stone figure reached toward the sky, and suddenly the crystal ship was caught in what looked like invisible hands. The Guardian crushed the alien vessel with forces that bent space itself around the target. The ship's advanced shields and armor provided no protection against power that operated outside the normal laws of physics. Alex watched in stunned silence as pieces of the destroyed alien ship fell to the ground around them. The Guardian had eliminated a target that human weapons couldn't even damage, and had done it as easily as crushing an insect. The ancient protector turned its glowing eyes toward Alex and his team, and for a moment they felt the vast intelligence. Behind those stone features, the Guardian explained that it and others like it had been dormant for over 10,000 years, waiting for a threat that could endanger not just humanity, but all life on Earth. The current alien invasion qualified as exactly that kind of threat. The Zephyrian invaders were strip mining the planet's resources at a rate that would make it uninhabitable within months. Communication with the Guardian revealed that Earth had been invaded before by different alien species, and that the Guardian network had successfully repelled each previous invasion. The ancient protectors were not fighting specifically for humanity, but for the planet itself and its role in maintaining life throughout the galaxy. Alex learned that the Guardians could manipulate matter and energy on scales that human science couldn't explain. They could reach into space and destroy ships with gravitational fields. They could redirect asteroid impacts and manipulate stellar radiation to create protective shields around the entire planet. Their power was limited only by their need to avoid damaging the very world they were meant to protect. Other resistance fighters around the world reported similar emergences as Guardians awakened at ancient sites on every continent. Each Guardian was slightly different in appearance and abilities, but all carried the same mission and the same vast power. The Global Monument Network was revealing its true purpose as a planetary defense system operated by entities that existed beyond normal human understanding. The Zephyrian invasion forces detected the Guardian emergencies immediately, and their response was one of obvious terror rather than curiosity. Intelligence reports suggested that the aliens recognized the Guardians from previous encounters or from warnings shared between star-traveling species. Whatever reputation the Guardian network had among galactic civilizations, it was clearly one that inspired fear. Alex coordinated with resistance groups worldwide as reports came in of Guardians systematically hunting down alien installations. The ancient protectors moved with purpose and efficiency that made their long dormancy seem impossible. They operated as a coordinated network, sharing information and tactical planning across global distances instantaneously. The Guardian at Machu Picchu demonstrated its ability to manipulate matter when it began repairing damage that the aliens had caused to the surrounding landscape. Stripped mining sites were filled in, and contaminated water sources were purified as the Guardian reversed months of environmental destruction with what appeared to be simple mental commands. Dr. Lisa Carter established communication with the Guardian network through technological interfaces at monument sites and learned that the ancient protectors had been monitoring human development for thousands of years. They had chosen not to interfere with natural human evolution, but had always been ready to act if external threats endangered the planet's stability. The Guardians made it clear that their protection came with conditions. They would defend Earth against alien invasion, but they expected humanity to prove itself worthy of that protection. If humans ever became a threat to planetary stability, the Guardians would act to remove that threat regardless of its origin. The ancient protectors served Earth itself rather than any particular species that happened to live on it. News of the Guardian emergence at Machu Picchu spread through resistance networks worldwide within hours, and similar awakenings began occurring at every major ancient site on Earth. Dr. Lisa Carter worked frantically from her underground facility to establish communication protocols with the Guardians as reports flooded in from every continent. The ancient protectors were rising from Stonehenge and the Great Pyramid and Easter Island and dozens of other locations simultaneously. Guardian was unique in appearance, but all shared the same fundamental characteristics. They were massive beings composed of living stone and energy that could manipulate matter and physics in ways that seemed impossible. Some appeared more humanoid, while others took forms that resembled ancient animals or geometric shapes. All of them shared the same vast intelligence and the same unwavering commitment to protecting Earth from external threats. Commander Jake Morrison coordinated human military forces to support the Guardians as they began their systematic assault on alien installations. The ancient protectors didn't need human assistance, but they accepted it when offered and seemed to appreciate that humanity was willing to fight for their own world. Jake discovered that human weapons became dramatically more effective when used in coordination with Guardian operations. The Guardians revealed through mental communication that Earth had been invaded multiple times throughout its history by different alien species seeking to harvest its resources. Each previous invasion had been repelled by the Guardian network, but the ancient protectors had hoped that eventually the galaxy would stabilize, enough that their services would no longer be needed. The current Zephyrian invasion proved that hope had been premature. Captain Maya Johnson reported from her naval command that underwater Guardians were emerging from ocean trenches around the world. These aquatic protectors were even larger than their land-based counterparts and wielded power over water and weather that allowed them to create massive storms and tsunamis when needed. The Ocean Guardians began systematically destroying alien underwater mining operations with forces that turned the sea itself into a weapon. The Guardians explained that Earth was far more important to galactic stability than most humans realized. The planet served as a crucial node in a network of life-bearing worlds that maintained biological and ecological balance across multiple star systems. Earth's destruction would trigger cascade failures that could devastate life on dozens of other planets and potentially destabilize entire regions of the galaxy. Dr. Ben Taylor worked with scientists and religious leaders around the world to decode more ancient texts, as the Guardians provided guidance on interpreting the old prophecies. Their writings revealed that the ancient alien visitors who had built the Monument Network had been part of a galactic civilization dedicated to protecting and nurturing life wherever it developed. They had created Guardian networks on multiple worlds to serve as immune systems against destructive forces. Alex Rodriguez led combined human and Guardian operations against alien strongholds and discovered that the ancient protectors could share their abilities with humans who fought alongside them. Resistance fighters operating in close coordination with Guardians found that their strength and speed increased dramatically and their weapons could suddenly damage alien technology that had previously been invulnerable. The Zephyrian invasion forces attempted to counter the Guardian emergence by concentrating their remaining ships and launching coordinated attacks on the most active monument sites. The aliens seemed to understand that destroying the monuments might disable the Guardian network. However, their attacks had the opposite effect as the Guardians used the incoming energy to power themselves up even further. Lisa established direct communication links with multiple Guardians and learned that the ancient protectors could manipulate matter and energy on both microscopic and cosmic scales. They could reach into space and crush alien ships with gravitational fields generated from planetary distances. They could redirect asteroid impacts and manipulate stellar radiation to create protective barriers around Earth that no known technology could penetrate. The Guardian network demonstrated its global coordination capabilities by simultaneously attacking alien installations on every continent and in every ocean. The ancient protectors shared information instantaneously across planetary distances and could coordinate complex operations that involved hundreds of individual guardians working together toward common objectives. Maya's naval forces supported oceanic guardians in operations that revealed the true scope of alien underwater activities. The Zephyrians had been mining deep ocean trenches and extracting materials from the ocean floor that were crucial to Earth's geological stability. The underwater guardians reversed this damage by manipulating tectonic forces and restoring the ocean floor to its natural state. Ben discovered that the ancient texts contained detailed descriptions of guardian capabilities that read more like technical manuals than religious prophecies. The writers had tried to preserve practical information about how the guardian network operated and what conditions would trigger their awakening. The text suggested that similar networks existed on other worlds throughout the galaxy. The Guardians revealed that they had been monitoring human development for thousands of years and had occasionally provided subtle guidance to help humanity avoid self-destruction. Many technological advances and cultural developments had been gently influenced by Guardian intervention, though humans had never been aware of this assistance. Colonel Ryan Mitchell coordinated global military responses as the Guardians began, systematically dismantling alien infrastructure that had been built during the invasion. The ancient protectors could disassemble alien technology at the molecular level and convert the materials into resources that could be used to repair environmental damage caused by the mining operations. Alex worked with Guardian networks to establish secure zones around ancient sites where human refugees could find safety from alien retaliation. The Guardians created protective barriers that no alien weapon could penetrate and began teaching selected humans how to operate some of the simpler monument technologies. The alien invasion forces found themselves completely outmatched as the Guardian network reached full operational capacity. Ships that had seemed invincible were destroyed by forces that operated outside known physics. Mining equipment that had stripped away entire mountainsides was neutralized by Guardians who could manipulate matter at the atomic level. Lisa realized that the Guardian awakening represented far more than just a response to alien invasion. The ancient protectors were activating systems that would fundamentally change humanity's relationship with their planet and their place in the galaxy. Earth was revealing itself to be not just another world, but a fortress that even advanced alien civilizations would think twice about attacking. The Guardians made it clear that their protection would continue indefinitely, but came with the understanding that humanity must prove itself worthy of living on such an important world. The ancient protectors would defend Earth against external threats, but they would also monitor human development to ensure that humanity never became a threat to planetary stability itself. The Zephyrian fleet was in full retreat as Guardian forces systematically destroyed every alien installation on Earth and in near-Earth space. High Commander Zethka of the Zephyrian invasion force made a desperate decision to attempt communication with humanity through Dr. Lisa Carter's research facility. The alien leader hoped to negotiate some kind of terms that might allow his people to survive what had become a completely one-sided battle. Dr. Carter worked with linguistic experts and communication specialists to establish a translation protocol that would allow meaningful dialogue with the alien commander. What they learned changed human understanding of the invasion and revealed the true complexity of galactic politics. The Zephyrians were not conquerors seeking empire, but refugees from a dying galaxy seeking resources to keep their civilization. Alive. Commander Zethke explained through the translation system that the Zephyrian home galaxy was experiencing a cascade collapse of star systems that would make it uninhabitable within a few centuries. His people had been traveling for generations, seeking worlds with the resources needed to build new homes, or to find technology that might save their original galaxy from destruction. The alien commander revealed that Earth had been identified as a target, not because it was defenseless, but because Zephyrian scouts had detected no active Guardian networks during their initial surveys. The ancient monument sites had been dormant for so long that advanced scanning technology had missed their true nature. The Zephyrians had believed they were invading an unprotected world with primitive inhabitants. Commander Jake Morrison coordinated with Guardian networks as the ancient protectors showed no interest in the alien explanations or justifications for the invasion. The Guardians had awakened to defend Earth against external threats, and their response was absolute rather than negotiable. They demonstrated this by systematically hunting down every remaining Zephyrian ship, regardless of whether those ships were actively engaged in hostile activities. The Guardian at Machu Picchu communicated with Alex Rodriguez and his resistance fighters to explain the ancient protector's perspective on the invasion. The Guardians acknowledged that the Zephyrians might have understandable reasons for seeking resources, but pointed out that Earth's destruction would cause the deaths of billions of humans and the collapse of multiple other star systems that depended on Earth's ecological stability. Captain Maya Johnson witnessed the Oceanic Guardians' final assault on underwater alien installations as massive stone and energy beings rose from deep ocean trenches to eliminate the last Zephyrian mining operations. The underwater battle was visible from the surface as columns of light erupted from the ocean and alien vessels were crushed by forces that turned seawater itself into a weapon. Dr. Ben Taylor discovered ancient texts that describe similar situations from previous invasions where alien species had attempted to justify their resource extraction activities. The Guardian networks had never accepted such justifications and had always prioritized Earth's protection over the survival needs of invading species. The ancient protectors served the planet itself rather than making moral judgments about individual alien civilizations. The final battle was swift and devastating for the Zephyrian forces. Guardians emerged from every continent and ocean floor, creating a planetary defense grid that no known technology could penetrate. The ancient protectors demonstrated abilities that operated beyond normal physics as they reached into space to destroy fleeing ships and created gravitational barriers that prevented any escape from Earth's solar system. Commander Zethkar's final transmission before his command ship was destroyed carried a warning that would be broadcast to other potential invaders throughout the galaxy. The message described Earth as a fortress world protected by entities whose power exceeded anything the Zephyrians had encountered in their travels across multiple galaxies. The warning would ensure that other alien civilizations would avoid Earth for generations to come. Alex worked with Guardian networks to coordinate the cleanup of alien technology and the restoration of areas damaged by the invasion. The ancient protectors could disassemble alien equipment at the molecular level and use the materials to repair environmental damage. Within weeks, most signs of the invasion had been erased except for the knowledge that humanity now possessed about their true place in the galaxy. The Guardians revealed the full scope of their protective capabilities as they demonstrated their ability to manipulate stellar radiation and gravitational fields on a solar system scale. The ancient protectors created a defensive barrier around Earth's solar system that would detect and neutralize any future invasion attempts long before they could reach the planet itself. Dr. Carter established permanent communication protocols with the Guardian network and learned that the ancient protectors would remain active indefinitely rather than returning to dormancy. The current invasion had convinced them that the galaxy remained too unstable to allow Earth to go undefended. Humanity would live under permanent Guardian protection for the foreseeable future. But that protection came with conditions that fundamentally changed humanity's relationship with their planet. The Guardians made it clear that they served Earth itself rather than any particular species living on it. If humanity ever became a threat to planetary stability through war or environmental destruction, the ancient Protectors would intervene to remove that threat, regardless of its origin. Jake coordinated with world leaders to establish new international agreements that took Guardian oversight into account. Humanity would need to prove itself worthy of living on a world that was crucial to galactic stability. Wars and environmental destruction would no longer be tolerated by beings whose power exceeded anything humans could imagine. The resistance groups that had fought against the alien invasion were transformed into Guardian liaison units responsible for maintaining communication between human governments and the ancient protectors. Alex became part of a global network of humans who could communicate directly with Guardian entities and help coordinate between human needs and planetary protection requirements. Maya's naval forces were restructured to work with oceanic guardians in monitoring Earth's oceans and preventing any future attempts at unauthorized resource extraction. The ancient underwater protectors had revealed the existence of deep ocean ecosystems that were crucial to planetary stability and required constant protection from both alien and human interference. Ben established research centers at major monument sites where humans could study Guardian technology and learn about Earth's true history as a defended world. The ancient texts revealed that similar Guardian networks existed on other planets throughout the galaxy, and that Earth was part of a vast civilization dedicated to protecting and nurturing life wherever it developed. As humanity settled into their new reality under Guardian protection, they realized that their planet had been transformed from a vulnerable world into a fortress that even advanced alien civilizations would fear to approach. But they also understood that this protection came with the permanent responsibility to prove themselves worthy of living on a world whose stability was crucial to the survival of life throughout the galaxy. The invasion was over, but humanity's real test was just beginning.